Welcome back to another action figure review. In this review, we're going to be taking a look at the third set of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Walmart 2-pack exclusives. This is the Donatello vs. Shredder. This is the packaging. It comes in a very large window box. Very cool Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle logo at the top. Doing Donatello and Shredder here at the bottom. The verses in the middle. And these are for ages like 4 and above. And they're not recommended for ages 3 and under because of choking hazards. Here you can see back of the box, it's pretty much the same for all 4 sets. They reference the turtles as the shells and the bad guys as the rebels. Not too bad. So let's go and start taking a look at the figures outside the packaging. Alright, so let's start with Donatello. Looks pretty cool. He has pretty much the same buck as the other turtles, with the difference on his sash and letter D on his waist. And of course, he's the color purple on the bandana, wristbands, elbow pads, and knee pads. Shell's the same color, but I think they all share a different shade of green. Here's a look at his head sculpt. He has his teeth shown on the one side, closed on the other. Eyes are painted pretty nicely. We have his tie and his bandana. On the back of his bandolier or strap here, he does have a place for his bow. And he has his belt, comes all the way around. It's pretty cool. Not too much to see on overall aesthetics because it is what it is. It's a green turtle with a shell. So for the articulation of Donatello, his head will kind of look a little bit up, more down. As you can see, you get a little side to side, and of course 360 all the way around. It's really good. And then we have rotation at 360 at the elbow, shoulders, not the elbows, shoulders. Then we have rotation here at the top of the bicep. Then we have a double jointed elbow, which gets you way past any 90 degrees on most figures, which gives you great for posability in your displays. So we have a joint here, in the bandana. The elbow pad doesn't get in the way. Here we have the wristband. Do you have rotation at the wrist? Then these figures are really cool because of the unique finger articulation that they have. So these two fingers are pretty much on the pinnacle, and they can go in and out. And then the thumb's on separate articulation. This can be in, back and forth, and side to side, and you can rotate it 360, which is pretty nice for that hand. As you can see, both hands have the same articulation. When you're actually manipulating your arms, there's actually the joint here. I'd be careful not to put a whole lot of pressure. Doesn't seem like it's going to break or anything, but if you get a stiffer joint than what I have, you may break that peg or something over time. But if you grab a hold of this little ball here and you can turn it better, it's probably a safer play if you're trying to keep your figures in mint condition as an adult collector. So you can see the hands. If you rotate that ball, the arms will go up about pretty far. Yeah, so it's really stiff. That's what I'm saying. Just be very careful. You're trying to force your arms up that far. Very cool. We might as well leave his arms up there. We'll take a look at. I like how this piece here is separate from the bottom part of the shell. As you can see, this entire piece, it gives you a side to side. You have the crunch back and forth. And you can see the shell is not attached to the bottom half of this. It's actually attached to the top piece of this shell here, which gives it some really nice range for your posability. Now the legs, they can go about that far for split, and pretty good for that split, side split. Then we have thigh rotation here, just the cuts right here. Actually hidden pretty good, but you can still see the line, but it's not as transparent as most figures you see with thigh rotation. We have double jointed knees. Looks good. Pretty nice. And then for the feet, the ankles pivot down. They pivot up for some martial art kicks. You have rotation 360. Not much side to side on this guy, but individual toes are articulate. You can go one toe down, one toe up, two toes up, two toes down. So that's really cool. So you get some nice range out of your turtles. I think they're fairly balanced too on 2 feet. The 1 foot, of course, it'll take some balancing act on your part, but overall, they're pretty well, they're not back heavy or anything. Pretty nice. Okay, for Donatello's accessory, he comes with his bow. Very dark brown. We have the white wrap in the center. And like I said before, you can take it and you can store it on his back, which is great. Looks very cool. Or we can take it out and pose in with it. Again, taking a look at that really cool articulation on the hands. He can wrap his fingers, his thumb around. My fingers are a little stiff from being brand new, so I gotta get it to work. Let me probably do it off camera. It's hard to see. Okay, here you can see Donatello with those amazing articulated fingers. Give some really realism on each finger, holding onto the staff. So you can definitely hold it with 2 hands also. So posability is really good for this guy. It's really good. Maybe it takes a little bit of a balancing act, but you see what I mean. It looks really cool. There we go. Donatello also comes with a stand. This very large sewer display lid has the turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles etched into it. A little bit of a detailing here. Donatello nameplate there and done in black. These are, quite large and big as my hand. Pretty big. Yeah, but he works. He has the peg holes in his feet. And they just fit perfectly. They're perfectly toleranced. Really no effort. They fit right in there. Most stands I've ever had in my life probably don't fit as smooth as these Ninja Turtles fit on theirs. So that's really, really nice. So let's set Donatello aside. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at Shredder. Now Shredder, kind of interesting because I really haven't got a whole lot of good Shredders in my opinion. I think I've seen these as a prototype way back when these turtles were released years ago, which were my era very, very hard to find, so I never picked them up. And I'm kind of glad to get them released. And as a bonus, we got, the Shredder figure, the Rocksteady Bebop, and the Triceraton. But I know the scale for the figures are a little bit off from the bad guys versus the turtles, but they are looking pretty good. Now here's the Shredder. Pretty decent. The thing about this Shredder is the face. For me, it looks kind of really cartoonish, but it's not bad. I mean, to get a decent standing Shredder that ain't $50 from NECA, you figure these packs retail for like $34.95 or $96, something like that at Walmart. So you'll be getting these figures around, like $17.50, if you just break them down and if you bought them individually. I mean, if they were sold in a single pack, you're probably going to be paying $22. Kind of like your Star Wars or your even the new Masters Universe multiverse, but looks pretty good. We have a lot of the standard gray on his helmet, his blades, his chest piece, his waist skirt, all gray. Black belt. We have a purple cape. It's a hard plastic. I wish it was cloth. That'd have been really awesome. Black pants. We have the shin guards with the blades on them, done in gray plastic, and then the black feet. I don't think there's really any boots there. I think that's just all one sculpt. But I'll give you guys some angles of how the shredder looks. It's really cool. For what it's worth, I guess it's not bad. The blades, in my opinion, are kind of small. I guess it's because these are made for kids. So they're more like pointy, like maybe longer here on the blades to give it a little more depth. But I guess, you don't get poked in there. Again, they are for kids, technically. You can see his abs here, nice sculpting. We have his two blades here on his top of his hand. And I guess you could take this off if you pop his head off, but no, the only thing about the head is like it has this weird feature to where you can pick his helmet up, but you can't take it off. He's bald. It kind of moves around a little bit, but seems to be pegged in the top of the head. And when you do that, it kind of looks really weird. So it moves around pretty freely. For the articulation, it does rotate 360 all the way around. There's not really much side to side or back and forth. Very little, if anything. So this is actually attached to his chest piece, I think. Yes. So his shoulders here, this gray piece. So the arms are on the ball joint. They will rotate 360, but they're going to get hindered by his shoulder blades. So if you want to rotate them, you got to like get around that like that. But then they raise up about that much because the shoulder blades are part of the shoulders, not the cape. You can see how the cape is cut around the top of it. So he does have, so 360 rotation. He does not have the upper bicep like the turtles. He does have a double jointed elbow. So you can see he can get pretty decent bend on his elbow. It's pretty nice. I mean, he can pretty much touch his face, so that's really a nice feature for this figure. That's a deep bend. That looks really cool for your posability. Now he does have this chest cut here that rotates 360 all the way around, side to side, back and forth. No rotation here at the waist. It's all one piece. Now he does have this piece. Obviously, it's very stiff plastic, so we're going to have a lot of issues with kicks or posability. I can't really see down this side there very well. Doesn't look like his legs go any further than that because it's getting a lot of resistance, like a power stance. This way, it's getting a lot of resistance. I don't want to break it. I got some back. It could be due to this piece of waist skirt here. So I'll leave that up to you guys to find out on your own when you do purchase your version. But he has double jointed knees, which is great. And then feet do pivot down. You pivot up. Don't think there's a rotation, no. And there's no side to side at all. So that's it for the idea of, the fancy kicks that you can maybe get a display with. But he looks pretty cool. Not bad compared to some of the other stuck poses we've gotten in Shredder, like the vintage one, for example. This is a pretty good. It's not on a NECA standard, but it's pretty cool. So it comes with actually a couple different accessories. It comes with this sword. Nothing fancy about the swords. They're just like a silverish dull silverish weapon. There is some sculpting in the weapon on the pommel and on the handle and stuff, but I wish we could have had like maybe some coloring there in the wrap, so we could have at least had some breakup in the presentation of the sword. As you can see, he can hold that very well. Looks pretty nice. The blades don't get in the way when you're putting the weapons in his hand. Now he also comes with another weapon. Since we have that sword, we have this. This is a very traditional weapon from way back to the vintage turtles. I think they came with. These are kind of rounded off. They don't look very deadly or very realistic. I'm guessing because, again, safety hazards for kids. So they are rounded off, and it's done in that same silver plastic. So this hand here is a closed-fisted hand. This is the only hand here that you can use to hold weapons. So you can't dual wield anything. I did miss the articulation in the hands. It looks like on these hands they have the in and out like this. And they rotate 360 also on both hands. And then they have that little right there. And out. It's very stiff though. So be careful. Here he has this weapon. Very cool. The hands kind of receive the weapons pretty good. And then we have this. It's like I don't know the technical name for this is, but it's a spiked weapon. I'm sure it's not like a curry or anything. I don't know what they call this. Again, this is something else I remember seeing when I was a kid, when I had my vintage turtles. Unfortunately, I don't have anymore because I was a kid and I played with them to death. And you know, you're a kid, you lose pieces easy. Especially this piece, and the next piece is very small, which is another traditional piece we see from the vintage turtles. I remember, which they were done in brown, I believe. So we have this little thing, like this little throwing dagger. Not sure what they call this either. But he can hold that, but it's going to be kind of like an inward angle because so we're nowhere for the fingers to go. That's probably the very loose type of weapon that he's had from the other ones. It's flops on a little bit versus the other three weapons. But that's still pretty cool. So that's the three accessories. We can put his sword back in just for fun, because that's probably going to be my main weapon that I'll display him with. And he also comes with a display stand, very large, same as Donatello's, but he has this symbol on it. It's all black. Very cool. And he has his pig holding his feet at the back of the heels. And we'll see how well he fits. He fits perfectly too. They're perfectly toleranced. So you can see how cool he is next to Donatello. So that's how they pretty much look together. I would guess, I don't know, in a realistic scenario, you would think that humans would be a little smaller than the turtles. I guess it depends on the base, because I guess in the original cartoon they were a little on the smaller side, and then in the movies they were more of a bigger than humans, then obviously, but been smaller than the bad mutants like Rocksteady, Bebop, or Toka or Razor. So I don't think it's a bad in height or, thickness. They look pretty good. They're almost the same height, so not too much of an issue with the scale for Shredder versus the Turtles. But they are very cool. Definitely worth, the $35 that you pay for them. Very cool. I do like the Turtles a lot, and I know they're reissued, but then I never got them when they were released because I could never find none of them. But because I'm, on the fence with some of the bad guys, but they're growing on me. But I think Shredder looks probably the best for the scale purposes. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this review of the Walmart exclusive Donatello and Shredder. These are made by Playmates. I haven't seen them in stores. I picked these up on Walmart.com if you're interested. The Donatello and Shredder is pretty easy to get. And I was watching, looking for Raphael and Triceraton. And I seen it one time, and I kind of had to go do some stuff, and I didn't get it. And I went back on it later that night, and it went from $35 to $80 for some reason. And then I waited for a couple of days. I watched it every now and then, and it was still $80. And then like a day or two later, it was back to $35. So I grabbed it really quick. And so that might be, if you might experience that issue for Raphael for some reason, I'm just going to be a heads up to keep looking and check back. If it's $80, it's going to go back. I think the scalpers are picking these up somehow and swapping the price. Is Walmart jacking them up to $80 and back? I have no idea. But if you happen to see that issue, just from my experience, I would be just keep checking a couple times a day, and they go back down and back up to 80 for some reason. Just as a heads up, and some sharing my experiences and help you guys if you are interested in purchasing your own set. All right, guys. So that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. We're going to be doing Raphael and Triceraton here very soon. And we will be doing other things also. So you don't want to miss anything that's pretty cool. Don't forget to thumbs up for me. Don't forget to like and share the video. Comment down below if you have any comments, questions. I usually answer everything pretty quickly. And thanks so much for watching. And we'll see you in our next review.